All right. So it says I'm live. So we'll go with that. You don't need a complete view of my coffee cup, do you? So that was my heat press. My easy press is all warmed up and ready. And what we're doing today is we're going to sublimate these heart coasters. And I just did 3 quick designs. I'm not kidding you. These did not take me very long. This was a pattern out of the sublimation patterns, and I have love cut out of the middle of it with a font, of course, mirrored. This one I actually grabbed a real cheetah. Well, I mean, as real as Design Space gets, right? And I broke it apart with an oval. The oval worked down the body, and then I just patched those together. And this one is as simple as it looks. I found that heart in Design Space, and I changed up the size and direction and went on black. So I've got the black theme today, which is kind of nerve-wracking because I am not the best at sublimating black, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So this came in a pack of 4, so I will get to create one more, which is exciting. And it also came with the little feet, so that's awesome. And they always have a protective coating on the blanks, so you pull those off. I got these blanks from Craft Chameleon, and I love using them because their designs come in with the exact right size file, and so that helps you. You can look and you can resize, and now they seem to be coming in like that. So any reputable designer that has blanks is amazing because they send you the exact size. When you order sublimation blanks or blanks in general off of Amazon, you don't get that privilege. And I do sometimes, and then I measure. But so all I'm doing is removing that silly border that Design Space prints out so conveniently for us. And then I am going to break these apart. I recommend one at a time because if you do more than one, it's much harder to get an even print. So I'm going to cut them into 3. If you're joining, say hi. And let me know if you're crafting today, working today. I'm doing a little bit of both. But I'm also spoiled because craft is my work. So, all right. So I removed the paper backing and I'm going to line this up. I did print these out on my Epson 3710 conversion printer, which I absolutely recommend. It is amazing. And I did use bleed. So that's why I'm kind of checking where to line up it because I did use the bleed. So that looks like it's on there perfect. I'm going to hold it snug and get it taped down. And I use my nail to really hold that, but don't let go and get your all 4 sides at least taped down. I use lots of tape, but I would rather waste tape than have to reprint and resublimate. And sometimes I don't even have extra blanks in stock. So that's terrible. Hi, Christina. Thank you for joining. I'm not happy to hear that you are so tired. You guys have had to bug through your house, and I am praying for healing for sure. So I'm going to set those 2 to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and put this one in my sublimation sandwich, which is I have my heat pad. I have a piece of butcher paper, which I'm going to fold inside here. And then I have my heat press at 350, and I usually recommend 25 seconds for acrylic blanks. I will say that I am going to do 30. For me, with my easy press, 30 seconds seems to work better to get the black out. So 14 seconds here. And then we're going to tape up the other one while this one cools, and I'll show you what they look like when you add UV resin. I love to add UV resin to lots of things because it adds a professional look. So like the sublimation bracelets that I made, I will tell you, you want to be careful too. I need to stop and tell you this. To keep this laid flat while you're waiting for it to cool. That is an important step because it gets hot, so they will bend. They're kind of, plastic, acrylic. So Okay, so back to the resin. So with the sublimation bracelets, I definitely think they look more professional if you finish them with resin. So that's my opinion, and I'm going to show you a difference here in a second. I will say I talked about on that video when I went live with them that you could probably fill those with resin, and it would be really fun to just do them complete resin and no sublimation. I will give you an update on that. I'm working on a plan. However, right now, I do not recommend that. I let this one bend because I moved it too quick. So you got to keep the heat on them so that they stay flat. I'll show you how we can fix that. So the resin is not curing in the metal, in the metal, there's a name, embellishment. It's not really an embellishment, but it's not curing inside the groove. Let me get this started and I'll show you what I mean. So I bought these earrings. They're the same idea. It was very frustrating because these were going to be super cute, but they're not sublimation blank. They did not come with the sublimation blank like the ad said. So I'm not happy about that, but I was trying to fill these with resin and it's not working well. So I did grab a bracelet and tried, and you can't, if you put too much colorant in, it won't cure. It's just too much for UV resin. Just doing the UV resin on the top of them cures just fine. So like this one has the UV resin. It cured hard. It was a little bit of glitter and cured just fine. This one I have not put resin on, and you see the difference. They don't look near as professional. I'm trying to get, they're just not near as professional looking. So, all right, let's see if I bent this one too. Not too bad. This one's looking good. So you want to keep them flat. Don't move them around like I'm doing. I'm going to hold my hand on it for a second. It is toasty, but I want to make sure I try to keep it flat. It's much easier to keep them flat than it is to put it back to flat. I'll show you. We need to pull my paper off. And I got this one too hot. I hope the second one's not. Darn. I have always done them on that temperature, but that's exactly when the paper doesn't peel off well. It's because you got it too hot. Oh, and I busted it. Well, this is a failed it. Typical Camilla editions here, but I'm not getting that paper off. Let's see if I did better on this one. Man, I tell you, there's never a dull moment watching me live. I cannot have just a successful live. When I record, I'm fine. It's craziness. Yep, that's too hot. All right, well, this one I might be able to work on. And that one, if I wouldn't have broke, I may have been able to too. But this one I may be able to work on at the kitchen sink and get that paper off, and it's going to be just fine. So it's sublimated fine. My paper just stuck. And that's the same case here, except that I broke it because it was still cooling and they're more fragile. So don't do that. But this one would be just fine. I just need to get the paper off. So let's do the third and let's see if I can show you that you can resin these. So I'll pull this off. You think it helps with scratching too? Yeah. All right, let's see. What temperature do you do acrylic blanks at if you're on temperature, or Christina? I usually do 350 for 25 seconds. I did bump it up because of the black, and I'm afraid if I don't, it's not going to transfer this black nicely because you can tell on this one that black is not as crisp as it needs to be. I am not sure what I've done wrong here because these have worked for me before, but let's hope this one turns out and it was just me. I'm going to bump that time back down to 25 and check it. And okay, so I'm going to go for the 25 exactly. So 5 seconds left on here. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull it, cool it, and do a peak test, which is a backup method to doing this. 355 for 35. Good grief. So I'm way low because I'm at 350 for 30. Now I'm doing 350 for 25 if I pull it now. I don't know what the deal is this time. I will definitely check in, but this is, yeah, but see, that's not enough. It's got to go more because the black did not transfer. So that rusty color that you saw, I know Christina's familiar with it. Well, I think she is. She does a really good job of sublimating. So yeah, thank you, Christina. But that rust color means you have not went long enough. So if you catch that with your sublimation oven, it's same thing. A mug press, if it's reddish, it's either you need to add heat or time. It was not long enough or it was not hot enough. Could have been both. So I did another 25 seconds here and I'm too hot again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I got to talking and I smashed this one. This one's 100% my fault. And I think it would have looked better. No, good grief. So that's not hot enough for black. And I knew I was going to struggle with the black, but I'm going to let this cool and then we're going to go one more time, but it's not going to be perfect to the edges because I smushed it. So it got so hot that it melted out. So yeah, this is crazy. I have not had this happen. That's really hot, of course. So I completely moved this, so it's kind of wasteful to even go. I won't line that all back up, but I am not exactly sure why this is like failed it, because this is not something that I should have failed. I have no issues with these. I've made them before. I've sold them. So I have no idea what's going on with the sublimation acrylic today. Maybe it's really cold here and we keep our house cold, and where I store these is close to an exterior wall and window. So they were really cold because I seriously just pulled them up before the live, but I don't know. I am kind of baffled and kind of thrown off. You can, and I really don't want to waste the UV resin, but because I'm gonna have to do some troubleshooting and follow up with you all. But you can cover the sublimation ink with UV resin, and it really is pretty. I wish I had a corner. Well, this one cleaned up, but I don't. So I'm going to do this one, but I'll show you just a section here. So at least you can see that it can be done. So I'm just going to draw a heart because it's a heart day and this one's trash anyway. So I'm going to draw, it's probably not going to be very even, more of a blob, but a blob of resin. You would cover it completely edge to edge. You could add light glitter, but it doesn't hurt the sublimation ink at all. It doesn't change it. And I stick that underneath my UV light, and I'll show you in a second that will cure. So sorry that this was kind of a failed it. I think that they were too cold and too hot. I really think that that's what I did. I will check with the Craft Chameleon website and make sure that what their recommended temperatures is what I was using. Double check, my measurements on that. And I will, follow up in the description because this is not typical. And as soon as I can, it's going to be I'm scheduled about a week and a half, 2 weeks out now. But as soon as I can, I will grab some more sublimation blanks and show you these work, because sublimation is finicky. So that's the trick of it. And that's why, we have to charge, because it's tricky and you have issues. And man, this would have been so cute, I think. I'm so disappointed. I was really excited about that cheetah pattern. And this one's pretty. It's really hard to pick up on camera because it's the light color, but this one is pretty. It really could have sublimated a little more as well, but it was picking up. The paper is still on it too. So today is definitely a failed it. This is almost done, and I shouldn't have failed it. This is a Camilla failed it. I have this third one. I'm going to check temperatures and definitely see if it is really cold. I really think that has to be the issue, because I've never had issues before, but this blank is holding, it almost feels like it came out of my freezer. So I am guessing that is exactly what I did wrong. From really cold to the heat is not good. All right, so this UV resin on here is cured, and that was the point of today, is to show you. So at least I was successful on that. but is to show you that you can UV resin on top of sublimation ink and it doesn't affect the design at all. So thank you so much for joining, Christina. If you watch the replay, a hashtag replay, super helpful. And even laughy faces, because today was definitely a wonderful Camel Live. So I'm out next week. I am scheduled on Wednesday. So I will see you all live in 2 weeks. In the meantime, Facebook group, I'll be there. We've got videos posting. It's all going to be fun. You can see the heart resin. So, and it really does add a professional finish to these, which I wanted to show that. But you can see, the difference would have been this sublimated a little bit better and this. And you can see that it's definitely shiny and makes a professional finished look. So I will follow up with the third one after I figure out exactly what happened. And so join Creative Moms Decant on Facebook. And that's all I have. Thanks for watching. Joyful day. Bye-bye.